Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Here I would like to deal with a few fundamentals regarding AC. AC means here alternating current. The previous topics were related to DC supply. DC, there we have considered direct current. Unlike DC, here the AC, that is alternating current, is going to have the variation in the magnitudes with respect to time. For half of the time, the current will be in one direction, which is considered as the positive, and reverses for the other half, which is going to be considered as negative. Here we can have a few examples of the waveforms that we generally consider for alternating current. The first one refers to sinusoidal. Why the name is given to this as sinusoidal is because of its shape. It acquires the shape of sine wave that we consider for trigonometric ratios. That is the reason why this is known as sinusoidal, and this is a square waveform. So if you observe these waveforms, this is triangular and this is multi-stepped waveform. These are a few examples of alternating waveforms. In all these waveforms, we can observe from the instant of origin. Say if you consider this as the complete cycle, cycle means one set of positive values and one set of negative values. Here up to this point to this point, for half of the cycle, or you can say half of the time, consider this as the complete time for one cycle, represented by that letter T. For half of the time, this is T by 2, we are going to have the positive values. So up to this particular point to this particular point, we are going to have the positive set, and at a particular point we are going to have the maximum value. Say this is V max, and after that remaining half of the time from T by 2 to capital T, and consider this instant of half period, we are going to have the negative values, and this is being considered as minus V max, right? So that is how the alternating waveform is going to be. And next we shall go through the EMF equation related to the alternating waveform. In order to understand the EMF equation, first of all, let us understand the Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. We know basically we have got two Faraday's laws. Let me briefly explain the Faraday's laws here at this juncture. Faraday's first law of electromagnetic induction, EMI. EMI refers to electromagnetic induction. This deals with, actually it states that whenever a conductor cuts the magnetic flux, EMF or electromotive force is going to be induced in it. As simple as that. We can have some examples like a generator, DC generator, or some transformers, which are going to work on the principle of Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. And here I am going to apply this. So here we are going to consider this is a conductor which is in position 1, and let us say this is the magnetic field directed from top to bottom. So these pink lines refer to the magnetic field, and this is the conductor which is in position 1. And now what we do is we change the position of, or we rotate this conductor which is in position 1 to position 2 through an angle of theta. Theta is the angular displacement that we are going to give here. And when this coil is rotated in the magnetic field, obviously it cuts the magnetic field, and according to Faraday's laws, EMF is going to be induced in it. Of course, we have to tap this induced EMF using some external means that we discuss later on. And the magnitude of this induced EMF that we calculate right now. Here First of all, we have to consider the Faraday's second law, which is going to state that the EMF induced is given by minus N into d phi by dt. That is, the EMF induced is equal to rate of change of flux linkages. So here phi is the flux that is related to the magnetic field, and N is the number of turns of the conductor. So consider N as 1 here, means we are going to consider a single turn conductor. Then this equation becomes minus d phi by dt, right? And remember, always we have to consider the perpendicular component of the flux, or the flux which is normal to the surface of the coil. If this angle is theta, now we have to consider the flux component which is going to lie in this direction. Okay, actually this is the direction of flux. If this angle is theta, obviously this angle will be 90 minus theta, and this will be equal to theta, and the component of flux along this axis will be equal to phi cos theta. We are going to have, so if this is phi m, we are going to have phi m cos theta. So this is the angle theta. Then we are going to have this component of flux as equal to phi m cos theta. So here phi becomes equal to phi m cos theta, and substitute in this equation. We are going to have the EMF induced is equal to minus d by dt of cos theta, sorry, phi m. Phi m is a constant and we can take it outside, minus phi m into, so here I am writing down minus phi m into d by dt of cos theta. So before going for this derivation, let me brief you a few fundamentals regarding this theta here. Theta is known as the angular position or angular distance traveled. So we can call this angular distance. Generally it is measured in radians or degrees, right, which is dependent upon, or which is given as angular velocity by time. Just like we consider for linear distance or linear motion. For linear motion we consider s is equal to u by t, where s is equal to u into t, that is distance velocity multiplied by time. So here we consider angular motion or rotatory motion, hence theta is given as angular velocity multiplied by time. Angular velocity multiplied by time. So generally the angular velocity is considered as omega multiplied by time t in seconds. These things, the omega is going to be expressed in radians per second and time is going to be expressed in seconds, so that ultimately we get theta in radians. Here we can have a small relationship for omega. Omega is actually the angular velocity, which is the angular distance traveled per second. Say if 2 pi is the angular distance traveled for a period of t. So 2 pi is the angular distance traveled for a period of. So when you consider one time period, the angular distance traveled will be 2 pi radians. So it becomes omega becomes equal to 2 pi by t, and we know 1 by the reciprocal of time period is frequency, and omega is expressed as 2 pi f. So these relationships we have to remember, they are very much important for us. So theta is ultimately is a representative of the time. Okay, now let us come to this. This is equal to minus phi m into d by dt of cos theta. Derivative of cos theta with respect to t will be minus sin theta. Already one minus is there, so it becomes plus minus sin theta. Minus of minus becomes plus, and as we are going to have theta is equal to omega t, again we have to differentiate theta, that is omega t. Then it becomes equal to omega phi m into sin theta. So here we can write expression for omega, which gives rise to 2 pi f already we have considered here, and phi m is equal to Bm into A, because Bm is the flux density and A is the area of the conductor, area of the plane of the conductor multiplied by sine theta. So this is the equation for instantaneous value of the induced EMF in a coil. Now if you consider theta is equal to 90 degrees, so when you move this coil from this position 0 to 90 degrees, we are going to have the maximum value of induced EMF. So when theta becomes equal to 90 degrees, we are going to have Emax, the maximum value of induced EMF, which is going to be represented by Em, which is equal to 2 pi f into Bm into A. Hence, the equation for voltage E of t is equal to V of t is equal to Vm, where Em is considered as Vm into sine theta. So this is the expression for the voltage waveform that we get for a simple loop generator. When you consider a simple loop means a single conductor generator. Next, we shall go through a few definitions related to the sinusoidal alternating waveform. Let me consider the sinusoidal waveform. So here I am considering the waveform like this. Say this is 0, this is the positive maximum Vm, and this is the negative maximum value minus Vm. This is 180 degrees, which is represented by pi, and this is 2 pi radians. Now, when we consider one set of positive values and one set of negative values, that is considered as cycle. So cycle means we are going to have one set of positive values and one set of negative values. And frequency means the number of cycles which are being generated for 1 second. So this is one of the important parameters that we are going to consider for AC, and this parameter we don't find in DC because there no cycle concept was there. So frequency means the number of cycles generated per second, and it is measured in CPS, cycles per second, or H, represented by Hz. And this already we have considered. F is equal to the reciprocal of the time period. Time period means the time taken for one complete cycle. So these are some of the definitions that we should be aware of, and sometimes we need to remember that this instance of time periods for maximum values also. Here this is going to be pi by 2 or 90 degrees. If you measure in terms of t, this would be t by 4. Similarly, here this is pi 180 degrees or t by 2, and negative maximum, here this will be 3 pi by 2 radians or 270 degrees or 3t by 4. And finally here this is 2 pi radians or 360 degrees on the complete time period t. Now, what my question here is, if you consider this complete waveform over a period of capital T, one time period, we are going to have so many number of values, almost infinite values are there from if you consider the magnitudes. Then how to represent this waveform? Here what our question is, how to, this is an important point of discussion here, how to represent the waveform, means by which value we are going to designate this particular alternating waveform. Regarding that, that is the reason why we are going to introduce a few parameters known as, the first one is, because no single value can be considered here, because we are going to have infinite values. That is the reason why we are going to introduce a few parameters which are going to identify a given alternating waveform. The first one is going to be average value, the second one is going to be RMS value, and third one will be form factor, and similarly we are going to have the next one as peak factor. Let me go through this average value, RMS value. RMS value means root mean square value. Average RMS means, we are going to define this as root of mean of square. These things probably you might have studied in your mathematics, that is average value, how to find out the average value when a set of values are given to us over a period of time. Similarly, we can also find out the RMS value or root mean square value. But here we are going to have a continuous waveform. We don't have the discrete values. We are going to have a continuous waveform which is dependent on time. And we know for a continuous waveform, the average value is going to be, say if P of t is a function of time, then the P average is going to be given as, if the time period is capital T, we have to integrate, so from 0 to t, P of t dt. This is how we can find out the average value. Similarly, the RMS value can be found out as P RMS is equal to square root of 1 by t integral over 0 to t P of t whole square into dt, right? And after that, the form factor is given as, it is the ratio between the RMS value to the average value of an alternating waveform. Similarly, you can go for the calculation of peak factor as equal to the maximum value or peak value divided by the RMS value of the alternating waveform. Like that, we are going to set a few parameters by which you can identify the alternating waveform. Now, let me briefly explain you what actually this average value, RMS value are. Average value can be considered for a alternating waveform such that it is that steady current flowing through the same circuit transfers the same amount of charge as that of the alternating quantity. So what I mean to say is, consider a load here R, and let us suppose we are going to connect an alternating supply. This is the symbolic representation of alternating supply Vs, and for a particular amount of time, let us suppose that Q is the charge which is being transferred here. And now let us consider another circuit, same circuit, but replace it by a steady source or DC source having a voltage of V here, and consider for the same time if this circuit also transfers the same charge Q over the same period of time, then we say that this V as the average value of Vs. So this V is considered as the average of Vs. That is how we are going to define the average value of an alternating quantity. Similarly, if you go for the definition of RMS value, here it is defined as the steady current which is going to produce the same amount of heat energy as that of the alternating quantity. Means we are going to consider two circuits here also. Say in the case 1, if it is going to generate a heat energy of H over a period of time, and let us suppose V is the source, or you can say VRMS. Consider a source of VRMS. Connect VRMS to the same circuit and allow it for the same time, and if this generates the same heat energy as that of this alternating source, then we say that VRMS is the RMS of Vs. That is how we can theoretically define the average value and RMS values. Now, next one, we shall go through a few waveforms for which we calculate all these 4 parameters, that is average value, RMS value, form factor and peak factor. First, let me consider a full rectified sine waveform. So here I am going to consider a full rectified sine wave. This is how it looks like. 0, let us say this is Vm, and this is pi, 2 pi and 3 pi. So consider this as time. And first of all, we have to find out the average value and RMS value for this waveform in order to find out the form factor and peak factor. And we know the equation for finding out the average value. Let us say V average is equal to, we know the formula, 1 by T integral of 0 to T V of T dt. This is for time varying functions, but here we are considering in terms of radians, theta. Hence this can be expressed as so here this is Vm sin theta. So this can be rewritten as time period is from 0 to 2 pi, and it varies from, of course here it is a repetition from 0 to pi, whatever waveform is there, it is being repeated from pi to 2 pi. Hence it is just sufficient to consider only up to pi. So 0 to pi, V of t is Vm sin theta into dt is being replaced by d theta. So Vm is a constant and we can take it outside. We get Vm by pi, and integral of sin theta we know it is equal to cos theta over a period of 0 to pi. And when it is simplified, we get here minus Vm by pi into cos 180 cos pi minus cos 0. So cos pi is minus 1 and this is minus 1, minus 2, it becomes minus 2 into minus 1, and this becomes equal to 2 Vm divided by pi. So this is the average value. Similarly, you can go for the calculation of RMS value here. So the RMS value, let us indicate this as VRMS, which is equal to, we know, I am writing down the formula here, 1 by pi integral of 0 to pi V of t whole square. So Vm sin theta square. So we get Vm square sin square theta d theta. And let me take Vm square outside here. We get Vm square divided by pi, and sin square theta I am writing it as 1 minus cos 2 theta by 2 into d theta, and this is equal to square root of Vm square by pi, and 1 by 2, so you can take this 2 also outside. Vm square by 2 pi, 1 d theta means it gets theta over a period of 0 to pi, and cos 2 theta you get minus sin 2 theta by 2 over 0 to pi. And here when you substitute in the here, sin 2 pi will be 0 and sin 0 also will be 0, hence this term will be equal to 0. Now we are left over with here Vm square divided by 2 pi multiplied by theta is pi minus 0, you get pi here, pi gets cancelled each other, and this will be equal to square root of Vm square by 2, which is Vm by root 2. That is how we can find out the RMS value here. And once we evaluate the RMS value and the average value, we can go for the evaluation of a form factor. So the form factor is now equal to the RMS value of the alternating waveform divided by the average value. So the form factor we have got as equal to, RMS value is Vm by root 2 and average value is 2Vm by pi. So 2Vm divided by pi. So Vm cancels each other and we get pi by 2 root 2, which will be equal to 1.11. So this is a standard value that we consider as the form factor for sine wave. And similarly, you can go for the calculation of peak factor or amplitude factor or crest factor. Like that, we are going to have so many names for this, which is equal to the maximum value divided by the RMS value, right? And this is equal to maximum value is Vm and RMS value is Vm by root 2. So this is equal to root 2, which is equal to 1.414. Like that, you can go for the evaluation of form factor and peak factor for any given alternating waveform. Simply we have to find out the RMS value and average value. That is how an AC voltage can be recognized with. For example, here let me tell you one example. For our household purposes, generally we say 230 volts. We say 230 volts of supply. 230 volts, say when we consider our single phase supply, we say that 230 volts 50 hertz supply. What does this 230 volts refer to? This 230 volt refers to the RMS value of the incoming alternating voltage. So actually this is nothing but the RMS value, that is root mean square value of the incoming AC voltage. So that is how we are going to use these parameters in order to identify an alternating voltage waveform. Right. In the next session, I would like to deal with a few more calculations and evaluations related to this average and RMS values, considering more waveforms. Subscribe to my channel for getting more updates and more videos. Certainly they are going to be very much useful for you. And that's all for this session. Meet you in the next one. Till then, bye. Thank you.